A little relaxed this morning. Yeah, I didn't really think I was going to do this either. But sometimes you just wake up and you decide, I think I need to do this today. Just checking to make sure the chat's on. Want to make sure that the sound is okay. Of course, all the meters show that it's alright. Might be a little loud. Let me turn that down just a little bit. This particular mic has a real problem with overmodulation, much more so than my higher quality mic. But this is the one I like to use on the boom because it doesn't weigh as much. All this administrative information you have no reason to even know about. Good morning, everyone. Let me know if the sound is okay. It is a little different setup this morning. I just decided to do a little, I say a relaxed, casual live stream, but in reality I'm not using my phone. That'd be the easiest way to do a casual live stream, so I still had to do a setup in another room, but I kind of wanted to do something a little different. Sounds good to me. Johnny's Girl 792, great. Good morning, everybody. I'm Roy Potter. This is the Potter Expositor live stream version. Today is the 16th of May 2018, and I've been shaking my head for quite a while now, over the last few hours, and you'll find out here why. I'm going to talk about three things, basically. I'm going to talk about Twitter and Facebook shadow banning, censorship coming up, which everybody else is talking about. I figured I better lend my voice to that. I'm going to talk about the constant accusations of being an anti-Semite when you are at all critical of the political moves of Israel, etc. And I'm going to talk a little bit about North Korea, so help me remember those three things. Those are the important things. And then we might just go and, what says Denise M. says you are planning a Waco massacre. You need to take action, Lieutenant Colonel. What? Aaron Cross Denise? Is that Denise Matow? I heard she was banned or blocked by Unirock. Okay, like I said, I don't want to criticize anyone. I don't want to call anybody names or anything like that. But I have nothing to do with Denise. Let her say what she wants. The whole group that she's involved with, they have some really serious problems. I'll just say it that way. Where does she come? Okay, I'm not even going to give it any credence. Let's get into it. All right, and we're going to do some chat talk this morning, okay? Like I say, look at the shirt I'm wearing. Let me make sure you can see this, because I want you to see. I've talked about it a little bit before. This is you see who that is? Of course, it's Vladimir Putin. And the shirt says, New World Order, niet. Of course, that means New World Order, no. This shirt, I talked about it in a live broadcast some time ago. It's a group of us in Vegas when Obama was still president, of course, and he was refusing to do anything about stopping ISIS. Actually, he was funding, arming, training ISIS, creating circumstances to cause more grief in that area, all of that. And, of course, Vladimir Putin and Russia went to work, and they started to clean house. And it was a real embarrassment to the U.S. military, not because they couldn't do it, but because the politics of the thing was preventing them. And so we went down, a group of us, pretty good sized group, went down to Nellis Air Force Base and did a demonstration against Obama, is really what it was about. Kind of, shoving Vladimir Putin in his face and saying he could do it and you can't, la la la. Well, of course, the MPs, actually they're security police, I think, in the Air Force, there at Nellis, and of course the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, that's so concerned about a small demonstration but didn't do a damn thing for the shooting in Vegas. Of course, I mean, there were some heroes that day, but by and large, they're more concerned about some people critical of the government than they are about killers on the loose, rapists, child traffickers, etc. Corrupt police department. Well, it's a sheriff's department, corrupt. You can see I get pretty disgusted with them pretty quick. I think there were only about, if there were 20 of us, that's more than there were. You know, it's something like that. It was 20 people, maybe less. We had some signs, vinyl signs, not the type that you put on a pole or anything like that. But we had a couple of Las Vegas Police Department cars park across the street and watch us, you know, and of course the security police from the post or the base were watching us, and you know, it just amazes me. It just absolutely amazes me. I could understand them wanting to make sure that we're not going to cause any, you know, shoot soldiers or things like that. I understand that, but it's interesting that they never approached us to ask us a question until really we were packing up, and then they come down. The security police and Las Vegas police come down, and they were really quite rude. I'll be honest about it. I was, like I said, a military police officer and a cop, and the way I saw them handle that was pretty disgusting that day. It really was. But like I said, we were packing up. But that's where this came from. And I'm going to get into that military-industrial complex mindset when I talk about North Korea. So I thought you'd like to see my shirt. Kind of interesting. Okay, so let's start off with the shadow banning problem. Okay, we have this censorship. Is the sound still okay? Midnight Girl says it is, but that's been a few minutes ago. You know, I start getting excited and I start getting boisterous, and I might be overmodulating, and I really hate that when I do that, and I really want to apologize for it, but it looks like it's okay. But like I say, this is a different mic, and I use it for this. Okay, we'll just keep going. So, in the Philippines, Charles Wheeler. Hey, hi Philippines, how you doing? Hello everyone. You know, that's the nice thing about this. You know, you get to interact a little bit. And I've really gotten spoiled with this live stream thing. Of course, that's the one that they usually cut you off of if they decide that you're talking about things they don't like you talking about. They usually take your live stream ability away, so you have to go back to recording. But anyway, so we knew that heading closer into the midterms as it came closely, these Silicon Valley leftist, Marxist, democratic institutions would do what they could to censor conservative speech, and they're doing it under the guise of bullying and, you know, that kind of thing. But of course, their definition of bullying is a lot different than yours or mine. And I know everybody already knows about this, but Jack of Twitter yesterday came out and said, well, actually, he didn't say it yesterday. He said it before, but this is when I found out that it had gone this far. That they're doing this to, make it more, so that you don't have these people sending bad messages in a chain type thing. You know what I'm talking about, the tweeting. But then I saw on InfoWars last night, one of the reporters there was talking about Facebook was doing the same thing, targeting, like in this case, InfoWars, so that people can't have it set so that they can forward on their Facebooks information from InfoWars. And I'm sure it's going to include a lot of other people, probably like Michael Savage, Ben Swan, etc. You get my point. Well, at any rate, I knew the Twitter thing was going to happen on May 25th. Well, guess when the Facebook thing is happening? May 25th. So here they are in an antitrust situation, colluding. Talk about collusion. How they're going to restrict the First Amendment. Okay, they're private corporations. I understand that, but it's interesting that if you fail to make a wedding cake for a gay couple or a lesbian couple, you're held, to some horrible standard and fined and even sometimes charged. In San Francisco, you'd be charged, I guess. Where is Jeff Sessions? Why haven't antitrust violations been tossed on these mega huge companies? They control a monopoly, and this is wrong, and everybody knows it. Even Jack knows it, but they don't care because they're doing it. It's nice. It's good, right? Shut down thought. Well, newspapers have done that in the past too, of course, and we know about the whole situation with Operation Mockingbird. We know that there's been censorship. We know there's been propaganda. We know there have been lies. Jeff Sessions, it's time to do your real job. And people say, oh, we got to take care of these 29,000 sealed indictments. Yeah, okay. Here's a real problem. If we don't fix the midterm elections, you don't have to worry about those 29,000 sealed indictments. If they're after the bad people, they aren't going to do it. And if they get control of the House and Senate, and if they do fail to take control of the House and the Senate, or if they don't, let's see, how did I mean that? If they don't take control of the House and the Senate, then what will happen is that they're going to cause us a problem. So either way or the other, it's not a good thing. So we can't wait for that whole thing to be taken care of. Jeff Sessions has got to get moving. I should have said that better, but anyway, I think you get the point. So here we go. I noticed that I think it was, I'm not sure who brought it up. It could have been Matt Bracken. It may have been Lee Stranahan. I'm not sure. But somebody on Twitter said, this could actually be a national security danger, especially if they do this to the president. But really, anybody. This is a national security, a true national security issue. In my estimation, a clear and present danger of an attack on the First Amendment by where most Americans get their information these days, right? So Jeff Sessions is asleep he's not even at the helm. He's down in the rum room of the ship, drinking his rum, his grog. That's what he's doing. And I'm really tired of people trying to defend him. It's really obvious when you look at the big battlefield here that he's missing in action. He really, really is. Okay, so I wanted to bring that up. I won't beat that dead horse. We all know it's coming. Yeah, you can go onto other platforms and all that, but they knew what they were doing. They got everybody to get into these ghettos, and now they're controlling them, and they're the big ghettos, right? They learned that from the Nazis. Well, it's been basically a siege procedure for thousands of years, but they're using that same procedure on us in the media world, in the web world. No surprises. So that's my first good grief. They just never let up, and nobody's holding them to account. Where's Congress? They could have passed an antitrust thing already, something, and Jeff Sessions could be enforcing it. We've already got the laws, but they just need to apply it. If they need to define it a little bit better, fine, but where are they? Because they're part of the problem, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I say I don't know if this thing's going to turn around. The corruption and all that is so bad, and nobody seems willing to do it. I know Trump's trying. I know. Okay, but all right. Next little piece of information I think I'll go to is this is the anti-Semitic rant. I have a lot of respect for Laura Loomer, and she'll never see this, and I really don't care, but I think she's a good example of this. However you feel about the Israeli-Palestinian confrontation, which I find abhorrent myself, and I kind of explained that yesterday about how I look at it, but I also said that in this type, and it's a war still, the first casualty of war is truth. It always is. So I said the truth of the matter is probably going to be somewhere in between. Some of the Palestinians probably did have weapons or whatever, but the IDF was certainly shooting unarmed people, women, children, and they made a big deal about, don't bring children to a demonstration. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, come on. These people have been under so much pressure for so long. It's really juvenile. I think it's even smaller, lower grade level than junior high school to resort to name calling the way Laura Loomer did when she was called out for this. Again, I don't care how you look at it. I'm really getting sick and tired of every time that you have a political issue with Israel and you don't like what they're doing, you're called anti-Semitic, which first of all is an incorrect term because most of the people that are doing this are not Semites, number one. We can prove that. And even if you can't prove that, you know who else are Semites there? Provable? The Palestinians, the Arabs. And Jake Morphonios explained this very well the other day. Semites aren't just Jews. That is a That's a propaganda lie, okay? There are many Semites. Almost everybody in the land of Canaan, what was called Canaan in that time, even people over in the Mesopotamia area were Semites. Semites are anybody who is descended from Shem. Then in Abraham, the line, kind of got more defined when it went through Jacob, or went through Isaac, and then Jacob or Israel. Jacob, who had his name changed to Israel. Holy cow, Ishmael was a Semite. He was a son of Abraham. I mean, for crying out loud. And if they want to use the woman's side, because supposedly Hagar was an Arab, or an Egyptian. I guess there's some question about who the Egyptians were, but it doesn't matter. The point is, everybody descended from Shem, including the Arabs, are Semites, are Shemites, okay? And there are a lot of them. I mean, so trying to peg that as being anti-Semitic, I'll tell you what was anti-Semitic, okay? Anti-Semitism is really the situation. It looks like I've been shut down here somewhere. Something just went black. Okay, I guess we're still up. Yeah. I'm getting attacked on my computer again. Isn't that nice? This happens regularly now. Just got notification I'm getting attacked. So they don't like what I'm saying, so I better say it quick. So at any rate, anti-Semitic behavior seems to me, and I realize the Palestinians are a problem, but again, this thing goes back to the entire history around 1947. It seems like to me that the Israelis killed a bunch of Shemites the other day. Is that anti-Semitic? How many Semites are there in the United States? There are probably more Shemites in Russia and the United States than there are in all of Israel. Laura, you really need to stop that. Don't resort to that type of juvenile behavior. I mean, the first thing somebody tells you about, remember the Obama thing? If you disagreed with Obama, you were a racist. It had nothing to do with race. So don't lower yourself to that, Laura. I was really disappointed with all the good work you've done in Las Vegas, Parkland, everything else you've done, and then to stoop to that. Yeah, I'm a little irritated with you. And I don't usually call people out, like this. But that was just so blatant, I have to say something. And I'm coming to the defense of Lee Stranahan for whatever that's worth. Let's see who that is. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. I know this is rude, but I just got to see what this message is. Okay, yeah. You keep going in and out, I'll completely use it, and then you'll come back. So they're playing with me, okay? They are. And I could see that. I got attacked right here. So they're playing. I've got a pretty good connection. The weather's good. So yeah, they're messing with me. Let me get to the next subject, and that's North Korea. As a matter of fact, it looks like the chat has stopped. Let me go back and check and make sure we have this here. Yeah, it looks like everything is all messed up. Yeah, okay. Rats. Why does this not surprise me? Rex says, last thing he said here, rats, where'd it go? I lost him. He says it is rude. Not really. It isn't. Okay. This is not a formal presentation, and I'm running the show here, so I'll do it. If I had a phone interview, I'd be looking at that, or if I had messages coming in. So I think that was a little rude of you to say that. It's rude of me. I don't like doing it, but it's necessary. Okay, so if you don't like it, go somewhere else. Like I said, I'm not here for clicks, followers, money, your accolades. I'm not in this for a popularity contest. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, I just got attacked, everybody. That was the message. So whoever thought I was being rude, I had to check it because I noticed they were saying that the video's stopping, okay? And I told you I was getting attacked, okay? It happened here, and you're seeing the results of it, and I'm having other people tell me about it. So, it just goes to prove my point on the censoring, okay? Gosh, some of you people really do irritate me. Of course, I know you're trolls normally, or you're people that just don't understand how the world works. Most of you are great. Most of you are great, and I really appreciate you being here. Okay, let's get to the other thing. It looks like it's still having a problem. North Korea. They probably don't want me to talk about this either. North Korea didn't go to the talks yesterday that were scheduled on Tuesday. They pulled out. Remember, I said several weeks back, I said this isn't a done deal yet. They, in the entertainment world, it's not over until the fat lady sings. Sorry, I might be hurting some people's feelings here, but that's just a euphemism, and that's a good point. Certainly, Kim Jong-un qualifies as that. So they didn't have the meeting that was scheduled yesterday between the two presidents, or between Jung and Moon, and now they're talking about canceling the Trump Kim visit because of South Korean and American military drills. Why is it that we can't ever get ourselves in a position to be? I mean, we've already made our point militarily. Why is it that our side never has to show our goodwill? Now, I was suspicious that China and North Korea would probably pull something in the end anyway, as I've said. But it would help a little bit if the South Koreans and the U.S. said, okay, to show our goodwill, we'll have our troops here, but we're not going to do the drill. Why? The military-industrial complex. They need to have the money spent on the fuel, on the practices, whatever. Plus the fact we want to show how strong we are. I thought Trump was a good negotiator. Well, a good negotiator would say, I'm going to give you this, okay? You've done this much, I'm going to do this. We're not going to have the drills. We'll have our troops there because we've already set it up, but we'll hold back. That's the kind of thing I got in trouble for at Command and General Staff College, because I would point these things out, and that kind of common sense approach isn't appreciated in the MIC. Well, the person that just called me, if you'd call me back here, leave a text rather, because it looks like my chat's having problems as well. If you would let me know if this thing is still skipping, and I'll just end it, okay? I've gotten my points out. It's probably jumping around. I felt really bad when I was down at Ron and Jody's and I was doing that and it was jumping. And then I did the situation on, how I felt about Q and my position on Q, and it was really bad. Partly because the weather was bad. That always seems to affect it for some reason, especially when you have, the microwave wireless connections. So I apologize for all of that. No one called. Good working. Well, there's no, your video is great. Okay, thank you. Well, and I don't mean to get, like I said, I did this on the spur of the moment this morning. I'm a little irritated because of, obviously with Twitter and with Facebook, and the fact that the government never does. Sessions is missing in action. That pissed me off. Then you got this thing with Laura Loomer, and always calling anti-Semitism when they're killing Semites, locking them up in a place where they can't get provisions. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm just, and then Trump and our side can't even show good faith in their negotiations with Korea. They got to push this thing forward with the drills. Of course not. I mean, if Kim Jong-un, is going to meet Trump and we're doing drills, how does he know that they're not going to attack the country? I mean, I really understand where Kim Jong-un is coming from. And it also points out, as I've warned, yeah, it's great what Trump's done with North Korea, but guess who's still in charge there, ladies and gentlemen? Do you see what's happening here? China and the deep state. I heard people saying, oh, Roy, they shut down the CIA in Korea. North Korea, they're gone, they're cleaned up. Trump's cleaned up the CIA. No, and I'm not finding fault with Trump on that. Don't misunderstand me. But we're so gullible. We see all this that we're told in various platforms, and I'm not going to mention any particular ones, and we think that it's all rosy and everything's great. Now, this is a form of maneuver too, tactics on the part of North Korea. I understand that, okay, but they did fail to come to the meeting yesterday. So Trump may lose this whole thing because he has to constantly have his MIC, his military-industrial complex, and the DoD showing off their muscle. It's time to back off a little bit, Trump. It's time to show some goodwill here, okay? Man, I wish there were better advisors in the White House. I'm so sick of these people, I can't believe it. Chester Kendra, Israel is using banned ammunition to kill and seriously maim unarmed Palestinians. When will Israel honor Palestinian right of return? Right. I agree. They they agreed to the Palestinian right of return. They did. Remember the Balfour Declaration and all that? Yeah. So you're very right. So I'm right with Jake Morphonios on this criticism of Israel and the leadership. I've already told you that the people that are leading Israel are the same people that are leading Saudi Arabia. They're one and the same. They're just playing a left-right paradigm game, basically, is what they're doing. But they're really the same people. And I've said that before, and we've seen it time and time again. I thought Trump was about America first. Netanyahu is a problem. He always has been. I've never liked him ever. And but he's like a lot of other politicians. The corruption's going to happen with politicians. That's going to happen. But the way he lies and twists information just really bugs me. Why don't you just tell the truth? The truth will work for you, Netanyahu. You don't have to stretch it. Well, I'm really on one today, aren't I? Yeah, I agree. Totally blasted. The last thing the deep state wants is to see Trump have success in the Asian Peninsula. That's right. That's why he needs to take control of the DOD and say, knock off the drill. We're not surrendering our strength to North Korea. We're showing a good faith action. But you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Oh, well, that's a good thing. GIN14, talking to Sandra Villarreal, or maybe, yeah. Beautiful, normal spring for a change. About 65 and sunny today. That's nice. That's a good thing. And then Gold Starfish says, chill, Roy. No, I like blowing my top every once in a while. I like it. Shows people that I'm real. I'm not a cutout. I'm not a stuffed shirt. I'm not a stuffed shirt, I'll tell you. A lot of these, I don't. You're probably talking to each other. I see things like they're incomplete thoughts, and I don't know how to answer somebody. Somebody said, "Go tell your commanding officer that and see how that works." I'm not sure. You're probably addressing each other. So anyway, who voted for Jared and Ivanka? Good point. There's still this entire mess that Unirock and others have uncovered in the 666 building, the Kushner's own, there on Fifth Avenue, and also the other building. I think it's the 555 building. I forget the name. That has to do with the 5G network and what's happening there. There are some real problems, and there have been some people that have been following this entire 5G and the panopticon, which I brought up several times, the nanotech in the stratospheric aerosol injections, the GMOs, all of the things that have happened to basically put up this panopticon. And I really do worry that a lot of what we're seeing coming out of the White House out of the government in general, is to keep us so busy on that we failed to see this prison coming, this real prison planet. And it's a problem because there are so many things that can be used for that is demonic. It could be a great leap forward for mankind in some regards, although the 5G radiation is a problem. And I think I'm not really good at the technical information, but I think I know a way to reduce that. But they've placed it in all of our homes. I think it was Pam Jones that said the other day, why did they really ban lead paint? Well, lead is a type of a Faraday cage. So I wonder if it really wasn't that they were poisoning kids with lead paint. They were look how far ahead they advanced. Really, maybe it was. I don't know how much lead was in paint, but maybe it was just enough to screw up the microwave and the mini waves. I don't know. Certainly a possibility. But to get beyond that, they changed the televisions, right? They went to all this new digital stuff in the TVs. You had to get off the analog. All of the lights, everything's, this new technology, where they can basically use it to enhance the signal from the 5G network, because it's really it's a very small wave and it needs to be amplified, and they can do that and also use it as surveillance, which we know in the new LED lights and things like that, which now you can't even buy incandescent bulbs. Well, you can certain types. Photographic equipment, you can still get it. It's pretty expensive, actually. But yeah, so they've really set us up, and we don't have any friends on our side, ladies and gentlemen. We just don't. Okay. Robert Fields Greenridge says 1911 or Glock, Roy. 1911 always. Always. Okay? Always. Oh, that's interesting. Angel Soul. Now, see, no, that's not a bad idea. Asking now, what her question is. Somebody said, why don't we invite South Korea to the drills? That's really not a bad idea, but they wouldn't do it because sources and methods as applied to the military. That'll be their excuse. All of that is changeable. That they could alter all that. That would be a good faith move. Yeah, I'm not saying that's bad, but again, at Command and General Staff College, when I brought up stuff like that to avoid war, they don't train you to avoid war. They train you to go destroy things and kill people regardless. That's what they're doing. Now, I understand the philosophy behind that in one regard. At the War College, they kind of get into a little more of the political side of it. So in the training, I kind of understand where that is. But you can see that the training, unfortunately, you fight as you train. So when you train to always choose the war, this is what happens. You don't have the right people making the right decisions. You see my point here? So you fight as you train. So if you constantly train that war is always the only answer, then that's what you do. And here I was in the CGSC saying, don't have Burma do that, do this, and we can resolve the conflict. Oh, no, 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 no. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Same thing with North Korea now. Oh, we could just call off the drills, or as you said, invite North Korea. Oh, no, 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 no. We can't do that. We can't do that. Remember, the deep state, the New World Order, people like Clinton, the Rothschilds, all of that, they consider themselves to be a different species. And they want to kill off the rest of mankind. If you don't believe that, go look at the Georgia Guidestones. And that's optimistic for us, that they'd leave 500 million of us. Question, if you were once an elite, aren't you always elite? This is from Rusty Parker. Game being played is on us. Martial law is coming, be prepared. And elites is kind of I saw somebody say, please don't call them elites. And I kind of understand that. Because what they've done is they've stolen that description was stolen actually from God's elite. And he talks about that delusion would be so strong that it may even fool the very, very elect, which means elite as well. And the term elite, this is probably going to be a stretch, but I think you can see, well, this isn't going to go over well. Break down the word Israelite into component parts, and you'll see the word elite in there. Isn't that interesting? Just so you know. Okay, Sharon Legnon says, Roy, the news about North Korea is false. Well, I hope that's the case, but I saw it on, I think it was CBS this morning. Let me see where I saw that. I hope you're right. I hope that this is the American media trying to ruin, the gains, the advances made by President Trump. I hope you're absolutely right. I really do. But let's take a look. And just because it's in the news doesn't mean it's true. You're right. But regardless, okay, tell me, did they have the meeting yesterday? Did they have the meeting yesterday? Let's see what the news says. Okay, pardon me, I know I'm looking at my phone, but I'm going to look this up to see if it's true or not, or at least if they say it's true or not. So let's see. North Korea. Okay. CNN says North Korea threatens to cancel Trump summit over U.S. nuke demands and, of course, the military drills and stuff. This was 3 hours ago. New York Times is saying the same thing. Okay, I'm not saying they couldn't be lying to us. Okay, but it's all over here. All right. Let's see. I think actually it was. Let me see if it's on InfoWars too. Okay. Actually, I should make you do this. You should give me your references, but let's see what it says on InfoWars. People say, I don't use InfoWars. Okay, no, it's there too. North Korea to cancel Trump summit. So what's fake? What's your name? Show me where it's fake, okay? I'm not saying it couldn't be. Who knows? Then Trump needs to come out and say this is fake news. All right, so I shouldn't have even gone down that road. Yes, Rose of Sharon Homestead. Mr. Potter, is this why Obama purged all the heads of the military? Are we seeing a sold-out military? Yes, 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 yes. I've said that since 2010 when I saw what was going on. I've said it since then. It's why I appreciate Mattis and I see what they're doing here. And Mattis actually left. He was kind of forced out, kind of in a way. But the other generals that are still there, yeah, they made it through the Obama purges, and I don't trust them. I don't trust any of them. They bow down to the military-industrial complex because it's those companies, Raytheon and DynCorp and Boeing and all those things. And I forgot the big one here. They're looking forward to getting their executive jobs there, sitting on the boards where they don't even have to do anything, but they get paid back for making sure that these wars are perpetuated. Yeah, that's why I say anybody over 06, actually I include the 06s, the full colonels, the captains in the Navy. 06s and above, I'm very suspicious of them because I know what they've been through. I saw it at CGSC in the War College. I see what they do. At CGSC, I was in a CGSC class, Command and General Staff College, when the first Gulf War started, Desert Storm. None of us, they pulled out maybe one or two people out of the entire CGSC to go because they had specific talents, specific training that supposedly they needed. I'm going to tell you what I saw, okay? First of all, we all knew because we had been briefed about it. It's common information now, so I can say it, that Ambassador Gillespie told Saddam Hussein he could invade Kuwait and the U.S. wouldn't get involved because Kuwait was taking the oil out of Kuwait, out of Iraq. They were drilling sideways. That's all common knowledge now if you look it up. But we were told that, but it was classified at the time. Why? Because they wanted the war. Right? Well, the next thing I hear is these officers who then became the senior officers, the generals in the Army and the services, they were all lamenting the fact that they were in class and couldn't be over there in war, that they wanted war. So why? I'm not saying all of them said this, but a lot of them did. Because they wanted to be able to go and go to war so that they could get their next promotion faster. I'm not kidding you. Putting people's lives in danger so that they could get their next promotion. Those are the guys that are leading the service today. Petraeus, all of them. Well, Petraeus is out. You see what I'm saying? Yes, that's why I'm concerned. But then you say, well, Roy, but you say the military is the only way to get rid of the deep state. Hey, I understand the problem. So it's going to have to be done by officers 05 and below, and probably enlisted, maybe as low as SFC and below. I don't know. It's not an easy situation if it can be done at all. But no, I don't trust the military, and I've been upfront about that. Gerald Esparza, don't feed the trolls. You're right, and I shouldn't. And I usually don't, do I? Maybe once in a while, like today, maybe so. Militia, Dale C., be careful there. The only way that will work is if you're protecting your neighborhood. Don't think that you're going to change the government or anything like that with a citizens militia. It ain't going to happen. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, it won't work. Yeah, I know what happened in Afghanistan. I saw how the locals, were able to fight our military. It won't be the same thing here. The only way that'll work is if Trump uses Article 2, Section 2 and activates the militia, and I've called for that. And I don't mean with guns and all that. I'm talking about to fill the positions that Congress refuses to fill, and to fire the people in the government that are opposed to him, and do all of these, counterproductive things, and bring people in under Article 2, Section 2 under a clear and present danger to take directorships, even if Congress won't appoint them into the cabinet positions. Now, I'm not the only one that's called for that. Craig Sawyer's done the same thing. I haven't seen Matt Bracken say that, but he probably has in one way or another. And I keep associating myself with, I keep bringing up Craig Sawyer, Matt Bracken. I had a few interactions with Craig Sawyer when we were starting when he was starting the Vets for Child Rescue. The whole operation that he's been really in charge of, along with law enforcement, the good guys, trying to save the kids and to crack these child and human sex trafficking rings. But I'm not the most popular guy with the military people because I am so critical. For instance, Oliver North taking over the NRA, I find that reprehensible. I remember Oliver North. I was the one military officer probably at the time that I know of anyway that didn't like Oliver North, and I still don't. His statement to Congress, or when they asked him about it, was that I defied the Constitution to protect the Constitution. Wrong answer. He was involved in the whole smuggling of weapons and drugs, in the whole Iran-Contra deal. He's not a hero in my book. I'm sorry, he's not. And now the NRA shows their stupidity. Dana Laisha, I love you. I do. Sarah Palin, I love you. It's a tragedy. It's like even the conservatives have short memories. The crimes that Oliver North committed in the name of, the United States, I find reprehensible. And now he's the president of the NRA. I don't like it. Rose of Sharon Homestead. Oh, I agree. Yeah. If you're talking about Oliver North, I consider him not just a criminal, but in a way a traitor. I do. But Tony Blast, JN14, Tony Blast at Tony. Whenever Roy's in a good mood, we get less self-censoring in his. Oh, I gotta see that. It's going up. In a good mood, we get less self-censoring. He does his best reporting. Oh! I thought you were saying I was getting caught. Well, like I say, I'm kind of between, Lionel and Alex Jones. I'm kind of somewhere in between those two areas. In the way I do. I can be stoic, if well, maybe I'm not stoic very often. When you've been through as much as I have, I trust God, I do, but I also know that God doesn't always come when you need him. If he did, there wouldn't have been 200 million people killed in the world in the 20th century or more, or the 60 or 100 million, they were killed in World War II, whatever. I'm sure all those people a lot of them were pleading with God and no help came. And I don't mean to put a dispersion on that, but, I do feel it. I feel it strongly, and I'm really pissed that we seem to be outnumbered when we're not. That's most people want to live, they'll have their little neighborly arguments and frictions in the family and all that. But these wars and the things that they concoct up, and there's no help. I said yesterday, and I still believe this. I think Trump has set in motion a thing in the Middle East to call out Netanyahu, the Saudis, and the Iranians in this way. And this is my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. I could be. But I said it looks like the cops coming to a bar fight. He's gonna let this fight happen between the Sunnis and the Shiites and the Israelis like Netanyahu are really in with the Sunnis. That's another story altogether, and I've hinted on it before. But set this thing in motion and just let them go and have their bar fight. And I've heard others kind of look at it that way too. So it could be a stroke of genius on Trump's part, but that's still going to injure, maim, kill, displace a lot of innocent people. Just because they're Islamic, or some Arabs aren't Islamic. You know, a lot of them are Christian, a lot of them are Zoroastrian. You know, a lot of them are, well, I wouldn't say they're Jews, but there are probably a few of those too. The point is that there are innocent people there, and they don't deserve this. They don't. But in the real world, I guess Trump knows that there's no other way to handle it, and there probably isn't. But I would be very disappointed with him if he trusts Netanyahu. I know Kushner, and the Kushners have been family friends with the Netanyahus for a long time, and with the Rothschilds. You know, and my friend from California yesterday, he said, the Republican Insider, he said something that I want to emphasize because it's true. I've never believed in the accusation that involves guilt by association. That's BS. Okay, yeah, you're known by the friends you keep and the enemies you have to an extent, but acquaintances don't count. Rubbing shoulders with people in a society that you belong to isn't guilt by association. Being pictured with somebody doesn't mean that you're in bed with them. I mean, that's just going too far. You know, if that were the case, then, you know, meeting with the Queen of England, you know, or the Prime Minister of England makes you bad. No, that's not true. Or trying to, you know, your neighbor who might be, you know, a bank robber, you know, and he's been adjudicated and got out of prison, you know, he's still your neighbor. You got to deal with him at some level. That kind of association, there's no such thing as guilt by association unless you take part in what they do. Okay, so, you know, I see those arguments, those kinds of attacks were made on me because of my support of Monograph and his great work, that I'm guilty of the same things that they accuse him of. And I'm not saying he's guilty of those things, but you see how that is a nonsense, evil type of accusation. So, anyway. Matthew Hill, Roy, any info on the underground energy pulse that went from the East Coast to the West Coast in 19 minutes 2 days ago? It measured a 2.0 on the scale all the way across. No. I've heard rumblings about these things. No pun intended. I don't know what that would be. You know, what they're doing with their technology, the CERN thing, for instance, all of this, it's God... I'm sorry, correction. It's men trying to, you know, there's nothing wrong with trying to learn. There's the scripture, I believe I forget where it is right now, but it's, it might be in Proverbs. I don't know why I'm forgetting, but it says, you know, it's the honor of God to, it's the right of God to conceal a thing, and it's the honor of kings to search a thing out. You know, God wants us to progress in knowledge. I really honestly believe that, but he wants us to do it without trying to take advantage of our fellow man, right? Or to destroy creation in the process. And I've talked about the earth being our playpen, you know, where God's watching and seeing, not that he doesn't already know, I suppose, but, you know, he's watching his children. He's saying, okay, that kid's doing pretty good, you know, we'll help him. But this one over here, he's a brat. You know, he needs to get his ass kicked. You know, whatever. I kind of look at it that way, but yeah, I'm afraid that most of these things that are being done are designed to destroy creation. And so this could be another part of that. I just don't know. I don't know what to think of it. Sorry to spend so much time on it. P-51 Mustang Type D. Who cares what you think? You're always around, aren't you, P-51? You and Barry. Are you the same guy, Barry White and you? Are you the same guy? Just using different tag. He calls me a bullshit artist. I don't see your face out there. I don't see your face standing up for anything. You know, there was a, and it's an old saying, but it was in a movie, and I can't remember the name of the movie. But anyway, the character says, you know, If you don't stand for something, you'll stand for anything. And I think that kind of well describes P-51 Mustang. He doesn't know where he stands. He just has to find fault with other people. He's very afraid to put his real name out there and his face. It's kind of like that whole thing with, yes, Q, right, again. Faceless Anons calling out people who have been, out in the public for years, sacrificing their life fortunes and sacred honors, putting their names on the line. Yeah, okay. Thanks, P-51. I might block you after this. I'm getting a little tired of your nonsense. Okay, yeah, Ray McGovern. Everybody knows that he was assaulted in the Haspel hearings. He was trying to call her out. Probably out of order. I understand being out of order in a situation like that. I understand that. But it was a way to try to bring attention to it because he's frustrated. I don't know Ray McGovern personally, but I can understand his frustration. Plumley, Josh Plumley, I think that's his name. He finally, after all that he's done to try to raise the alarm, he finally left the country. He says there's no hope. Even with Trump here, he says there's no hope. It's lost. And he left. And there are a lot of people, not just the elites that are leaving, but people like Plumley. And if Ray McGovern could, he probably would. I would. Alex Jones says he would. I'm certain there are a lot of other people that would. This is a dire situation. I've called it that before, that we're in an awful situation, and most Americans are doing this. They don't watch what... I told you here about, a week ago, I did a short, I think it was a Periscope, may have been a short live stream, I don't remember. No, I had to use my small... I have a camera that's actually the size of this, but it's not a cell phone, that I carry with me and use in emergencies like that. And I took some pictures of the chemtrails, right? And these people are just walking around. They're totally oblivious to what's going on. I felt like jumping on the hood of a car and yelling at them and saying, look what they're doing. They're killing you. Why are you not seeing this? But, then they want to call the cops and have you hauled away in a straitjacket because they're so stupid. And I don't know what the answer is. We're trying, and now they're trying to shut us down with censorship because we're fake news. Nobody talks about Operation Mockingbird in the mainstream media. Of course they wouldn't, because they're the CIA, right? And Trump really needs to take it to that next step. When he calls out the fake media, he ought to say, and I know you're being run by the intelligence community. He ought to mention Operation Mockingbird. He ought to mention the NDA 13 and 15, I think were the two, where the first one is the Congress said, yeah, you can go ahead and lie to the American people. Can you believe that Congress would do that? Yeah, because they're crooks. And then, they fund them. They take our tax money and give it to them to help them lie to us. And nobody's raising the alarm about that. Trump should call that out right in front of the whole country. Hell, they're going to try to kill him anyway. I think the gloves ought to come off completely. The outlaw World's chill I am. Mr. Potter, you need a moderator. I know. Mr. Merrick, question, Roy. I'm Canadian. Just like your thoughts on our government and military and where they stand on discussed issues. Backing U.S., I gather. Yeah. I got to tell you, I was responsible for training a certain country. I'll just kind of leave it like that. To take over a NATO mission. And the people that I selected to train them were not Americans. They were Canadian military. The Canadian military that I was dealing with at that time, they were the most professional, tactically proficient group that I had dealt with. The one I'm talking about. They were from French Canada, and I selected them to do the training. And they were really good. But yeah, the Canadians pretty much support our politics. They do. Roy, Michelle McKinney, Roy, why is Trump allowing the 5G and chemtrails, etc.? One of my worries. Now, he did stop the Chinese taking over that. He did do that, but the technology is still going forward with all the bad parts, just who's controlling it. And I don't know. It would seem like to me that would be a priority given the panopticon and the end game of that. But I can also see how difficult it is, and there have been people like Ilana, I forget her last name now. Anyway, I did a video on her. Pardon me, I've forgotten her last name. But she said that there's really probably no way that Trump can stop it. It's too big. It's too big, and there's no controls over them. It would really take the military, again, to shoot these things down. The satellites, shoot the chemtrail planes down. I mean, it would really take that. And apparently it's bigger than even Trump. At least that's what she says. So I guess it's trying to choose the right battle in the right order to make the best possible effect that you can. It's kind of like, in battle, the ideal thing usually is to take out the command and control first, but sometimes you can't do that. So then you have to find the units, the enemy units that are the most dangerous to your operations. So sometimes, it just depends on decisions. It might be in Trump's long-term goal. Of course, it might be too late by then. I mean, this 5G panopticon is going up right now. The satellite aspect of it is apparently not, by Elon Musk and I always forget his other name, Eric Schmidt. They're kind of, at least the appearance is that they're kind of at odds with each other. But regardless, that satellite system is not where they want it yet, but certainly everything else is. And then Unirock and other people have pointed out that Soros, who is behind a lot of this, has a backup plan where if the United States somehow doesn't follow through with this 5G thing to the conclusion that he wants it to, the plan B is to move it to Europe, and they've already done that. So, like I said, I think the problem is it's just too big. Not that it couldn't be addressed, but I guess it's just not a target yet. Well, it might be targeted, but they're not engaging it. Let's hope that's what it is. Trump is having 5G fast track. Trump's running out the clock until we're all enslaved. Sandra Villarreal. Okay. And I can't disagree with that. All this other stuff going on to put us under the panopticon, maybe so. With all of the hope that I put into Trump and everything, I can't disagree with that. I would hope that's not the case, but I can't disagree with it. My Republican insider in California is going to be pulling what hair he has left out. Because, there are a lot of questions I have on Trump. Some things don't make any sense. And, Jerome Corsi and other people say, well, that's Trump's nature. He causes chaos, and then when it's all done and over with, it's cleaned up and works like a smoothly oiled engine. Well, we'll see. Yeah, Tony Barbera, JFK was killed by his own people, the IC, yeah. Lyndon Johnson, the others, and the world accepted it. Yeah, the Americans didn't get out in the streets, and they're not now. Yeah, I missed that. Who said it? But Ray McGovern apparently gave, I didn't see it, but apparently gave a talk about the problem with dual citizenship, and I've called out that same thing, especially if you're in a position of an elected or bureaucratic position in the government where you have to take an oath to the Constitution. Why can they have dual citizenship with any other country, but especially Israel? Or Britain. That's entirely wrong. That should make them it should be illegal to hold elected office and even some appointed offices if you're a citizen, dual citizen of another country. We'd have to make that just across the board. But it's definitely a problem with Israel and with Saudi Arabia and with Britain, definitely. All Masonic Theater, Roy, I can't disagree, but I'm hoping that this will get fixed. Politically Incorrect says, I heard the same thing with 3G and 4G. I think it's bullshit. No, it's not. You're not looking at it. It's the progress of technology. You got to understand, the military-industrial complex, the deep state, is 30 to 50 years or more ahead of us. They only give us what they want us to have after they've used it to their benefit. Okay? Do you understand that? There are problems with 3G. I know people that are affected by 4G now. You know, I do. Pam Jones is one. And some people say, well, she's a little overboard. No, no, she's not the only one. I'm using her as an example. Pam Jones for Liberty. Wi-Fi and the 4G, 3G, 4G affected her. No, there is a problem with it. I guarantee you. 5G is going to be worse, and it is worse already. Go do your research. So don't think that some people are. I gotta put it to you this way. It's like the flu. Okay, some people are immune to the flu. My wife, for instance, she never had a sick day in her life until she got ovarian cancer. She might get a sniffle, right? Never anything serious. Never throwing up. Never coughing, up stuff. Never any of that. She's the most healthy person I ever saw. And she could say, I don't believe in the flu. I've never had it. Just because she didn't get bothered by it doesn't mean that other people aren't. Everybody has their system that can absorb certain things, that they can fight off certain things. So just because it doesn't bother you, you might have a constitution that you can take it. There are always exceptions, but don't believe the exception negates the problem. Okay, because it doesn't. Okay, geez, how long have we been going? Over an hour. Oh yeah, Millie Roo, you make a point. Wi-Fi can be measured. They've been using microwave technology against people for years. Yeah, there are microwave weapons. I know that for a fact. So whoever was saying that they never bothered by 3G or 4G, again, it's because they either haven't been targeted or their physical constitution is such that it hasn't gone past their tolerance level yet. Yeah, definitely difference in the cloud structure. I realize that. Well, lightning shooting straight left and right at the same time, that can happen. That I remember growing up, I used to see that. I grew up in the East. That is possible. Yeah, Rhoda McGregor, I agree. I vacillate on Trump. When he does well, I give him accolades. When he doesn't, like on the Syria thing, etc., I call him out. Um, it's the only way to handle it, in my estimation. So uh, I think overall he's headed in the right direction. But you're right. To trust men. I saw a coin. I think Jake Morfonio showed it with this whole embassy moval to Jerusalem, the U.S. embassy moving to Jerusalem. They commemorated a coin, and I'm not sure. It looked like to me that the image on the front of the coin, it was of, it could have been a Jewish king and Trump, but I think it was supposed to be the Persian king Cyrus that I've talked about before. That Trump is kind of a type and shadow of. I think it was Cyrus and Trump on the front of this coin. So this has been perpetuated by a lot of people, and I can understand why the state of Israel would do that. But again, I don't consider, as the Orthodox Jews don't, the state of Israel to be the Israel that's talked about by God. No way, shape, or form. Can it be still a place where the Jews are gathered and all that? Yeah. I don't want to go there today, though. Lisa Chavez. Hi, Lisa. It's been a long time, huh? Yeah, Lisa's been with me for a long time. She says, yes, it was a picture of Cyrus. So good. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, I think Lisa Chavez. Well, I remember her coming on my channel. Remind me about this, Lisa, but I think you've been around with me since 2010, maybe 2011. Is that correct? Somewhere in there, I think you've been around. Isaiah 45. Thank you, Platos. I appreciate that. Thank you. Greater Israel plan. Yeah, and I'm aware of that. And see, that's the problem. That's the problem. I agree. Well, you guys are going back and forth with each other here. Cool shirt, Roy. Yeah, I told you I had it, and I explained at the beginning how I got it, and why. Um, okay. Yeah, Israel organization reveals Trump coined an expression of gratitude over embassy move. I understand all that. And early on, I did a whole series about Trump being, I used the Hebrew to explain the similarities, the metaphors, the types and shadows, as they call it, of how Trump could be the Cyrus archetype, But I looked at it as him being the Cyrus for the United States, restoring us. Of course, it was going to end up with this thing in Israel too, but I'm giving Trump a little leeway here. So, like I said the other day, I see him setting up an answer to a bar fight where he's going to let them duke it out, but he's not going to be involved in it, I think. And the embassy move, I think, was more of I still think it may have been a slap in the face to the Rothschilds. I'm not certain of that, but I've kind of talked about that. I think most Israelis wouldn't understand that. Most of them wouldn't. I'm not even sure Netanyahu does. And I could be wrong about that. But yeah, it's something we need to take into consideration. Yeah, Sir Charles, did we just change one billionaire group controlling the country for another billionaire group controlling us? Yeah, you did. This game is played at that level. And of course, they're internecine, as Lionel would say. Internecine fights going on, of course. But that doesn't mean it's bad necessarily. You can have good billionaires. Look at Batman and Bruce Wayne. Yeah, Rhoda McGregor, Israel is not what we've been taught in the Bible. The state of Israel today is, and the Orthodox Jews will tell you that the state of Israel today is not what God was talking about in the Bible. Absolutely 100%, absolutely correct. Wow, there are a lot of good comments this morning, but like I said, we've been going for almost an hour. Oh, planetary objects could cause eruptions and earthquakes. Yeah. Thank you all for coming. I think I've probably said enough on the Zionist thing this morning. I don't want to overdo it for a lot of reasons. I think you know what my take is on it. Yes, I am concerned about. Somebody brought this up. I didn't read it. Sorry, didn't say who it is. Yeah, I've always been concerned about the people that Trump has surrounded himself with in his cabinet, in his White House, his advisors, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Talk about guilt by association. That's why I'm careful with that, because I don't want to make it sound that, but there is a point at which it makes you wonder. So, yeah, it is a concern. And I don't really know where it's going. In the end, we can only trust our own heart. Only we know what our relationship with God is. I mean, God might have a different viewpoint of that, but what I mean is we know if we're being honest with ourselves or not. And that's really all it can come down to. I think my mom used to quote it all the time. She says, to thine own self be true, and then you can't lie to any man. Yeah. It's kind of a twist on a scripture. Okay, yeah, JN14. However, the sign-off blessing covers all this, and that's where I'm going now. Thank you for bringing that up. It's really kind of you to do that, because we have been going for an hour and 10 minutes. Keep your situational awareness on high, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. Stay vigilant. Prep, pray, stay out of the way. Remember, the scripture says the wicked will destroy the wicked. The billionaires fighting amongst each other for power, for instance, and you can take that on down the line to even local things. It's good to voice your opinion. It's good to be out like we are doing here. God expects that. We saw it in the prophets. We see it in philosophers. And I could name some people. I won't, because that might trigger some folks. But there are voices of reason, and we should be part of that voice of reason and logic and love. We should be. But in the end, the wicked destroy the wicked, and we just got to prep, pray, stay out of the way. Okay, stand for the righteous thing. Stand for principle when no one else does, but don't kid yourself into thinking that you're going to change an evil person. They've made their choice. All you're doing is witnessing against them. That's really what you're doing. And another part of that, we see sins and evil in other people so that we can examine ourselves, if we're honest, if we're intellectually and spiritually honest with ourselves, and say, do I have any of those negative traits? If I do, I want to change them. I want to eradicate them from myself. That's really what this is about. Okay, consider that. All right. God bless you and yours. God bless the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America and the Second American Revolution. And God bless Melania Trump. You know, I'm convinced she's a jewel, and I'm not enamored with her. I can see it in her eyes and her actions. Okay, and for a lot of the rest of the Trump family. Contribute that to the women that raised them, or to Trump himself, although supposedly he was out doing his work, but still, some good things there. But God bless Melania. Hopefully she continues to get better, and God bless all those who cry their eyes out, but keep a stiff upper lip. And you heard me say that before. Who have various ailments, and may we be the instruments in God's hands to comfort them. And God bless Donald Trump in all of his righteous endeavors. And may the Spirit of God descend upon him and give him the spirit of discernment to know right from wrong, and to have the courage to do the right thing. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.